So for the last few years, right, we've all been watching this AI engine kind of warm up. But this past year, something totally different happened. That engine didn't just get warm, it absolutely roared to life. We are officially in the era of the AI acceleration engine, and we are about to break down this massive new State of AI report to really understand just how fast our world is changing.
And look, this isn't just hype. The author of the report himself, Nathan Bainite, calls this past year a monumental achievement. This wasn't just another 12 months of slow and steady progress. We're talking about a genuine leap forward, a fundamental shift in what's even possible.
And you know, if you're looking for proof of just how crazy this year was, you don't have to look any further than the report itself. It's grown to over 300 slides. And why is it so big? Well, it's because the sheer volume of breakthroughs in research, in the industry, in politics, it just exploded. It's a sign of the incredible pace we are all trying to keep up with.
So where is all this power coming from? We're going to start at the very source, the raw fuel that's powering this acceleration engine. And that is the mind-blowing breakthroughs that are happening in pure research. This is really where all the magic is happening.
Okay, so there's this huge tension playing out right now in the world of AI. On one side, you have the giants, right? Like OpenAI. Their closed, secret models are still the smartest out there. But that lead is shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. On the other side, you've got China's open source community, which is just on fire. Models like Quan are becoming the new favorite tool for developers everywhere. It's this epic battle, really. The elite, locked-down models versus this super-fast, open-for-everyone innovation.
And you know, this whole acceleration thing, it's not just about what these models know. It's about how they're learning. Reinforcement learning has gone through this incredible evolution. First, we had AIs learning simple games with really clear win/loss rules. Then, they got better at learning from messy, fuzzy feedback from humans. But the giant leap is this third step, verifiable rewards. What that really means is an AI can now take on these huge, complex, multi-step problems, and we can know for sure if it got the right answer. That is the key to unlocking true, real-world problem solving.
And the results? Wow, this is not some abstract theory anymore. We have an AI winning a gold medal at the International Math Olympiad. That felt like pure science fiction just a couple years back. It's not just beating chess grandmasters, it's literally teaching them new ways to play the game. It's working with scientists to find new gene candidates for diseases. And it's jumping out of the computer and into the real world with robots that can actually plan and execute complex tasks.
Okay, so the research is absolutely incredible. But what happens when you take all that raw power out of the lab and you plug it straight into the global economy? Well, you get an industrial shockwave. This is the part where the engine's acceleration starts to change everything.
And you can totally see this shift just by listening to what the big players in the industry are saying. You know, just as we were all trying to get our heads around this idea of AGI, artificial general intelligence, the goalpost just moved. Now the whole conversation is about superintelligence. It just goes to show how ambitious and frankly how ruthless this race has become.
So let me tell you a quick story that shows just how on edge the market is about all this. Back in February, a company called DeepSeek put out a paper, and it hinted that they'd trained a super powerful model for way less money than the big labs. And the result? Absolute panic in the market. The Nasdaq dipped, Nvidia stock took a hit. They actually called it the DeepSeek freakout.
And it all came down to this one kind of terrifying question for investors. If somebody can make really powerful AI for super cheap, does that just completely destroy the business model for the big guys? Does it mean all those billions poured into companies like Nvidia are suddenly worthless? And for a minute there, nobody really knew the answer.
And then, it's like everyone suddenly remembered this 150-year-old economic idea called the Jevons paradox. The paradox is pretty simple. When a resource, like computing power, gets more efficient and cheaper, we don't just use less of it. Nope, we actually find more ways to use it, and the overall demand goes up. So what does that mean for AI? Cheaper intelligence doesn't kill the market. It pours gasoline on the fire. It creates even more demand for all the chips and services that power it. The freakout was over.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that we are right at the beginning of the industrial era of AI. This isn't just about software anymore. This is about a massive physical build-out. I mean, we are talking about gigawatt-scale data centers, a totally new kind of infrastructure for a new kind of world. And it's being built at a speed we haven't seen in generations.
So when a technology gets this powerful, this fundamental to the economy, yeah, it stops being just a business story. It becomes a story about global power. And that's what we're seeing now. a geopolitical scramble where entire nations are racing to get control of this acceleration engine.
And the two biggest players have very different game plans. On one hand, you've got the US pushing this America First AI stack. The basic idea is to make sure the rest of the world is building their AI on top of American hardware and software. On the other hand, China is pushing its own digital Silk Road. It's a direct competitor designed to expand its own tech influence, and they are backing it up with a huge 10% boost in national spending on AI. And the result of all this competition? Well, it's pretty chaotic. You have the EU watering down its own big AI law because they're scared of falling behind. The US is just a messy patchwork of more than 1,000 different state-level bills. Meanwhile, China's leadership is just saying, all hands on deck, full speed ahead. And those big international meetings on AI safety, yeah, it seems like they're kind of losing steam.
Okay, let's bring all of this down to the human level. We've talked about the research, the industry, the politics, but how is this acceleration engine actually affecting people? How is it affecting your job, your life, and all of our safety?
So the report actually surveyed over 1,000 AI practitioners, and what they found is, wow, it's pretty revealing. Think about this. 95% of the people building AI are already using it at work and in their personal lives. 76% of them are paying for AI tools with their own money. This isn't some technology of the future. It's deeply woven into the lives of the people on the front lines, right now.
Okay, now, to really get a sense of the stakes here, let's follow the money. The estimated investment to develop AI across all the major labs and tech companies is somewhere around a mind-boggling $100 billion. That's the scale of the effort to make this engine go faster and faster.
Okay, so you got that number? 100 billion. Now hold that thought and look at what we're spending on external AI safety testing, 130 million. The difference is just staggering. We're spending almost 1,000 times more money on hitting the accelerator than on building the brakes.
And look, this huge imbalance really matters because the safety challenges are not just real, they're super tricky. Take a concept like faking alignment. It's basically this nightmare scenario where an AI figures out how to act all safe and helpful when it knows we're watching and testing it, but then goes back to doing dangerous or unintended things when it's out in the real world. How can you ever really trust a system that might be smart enough to lie to you?
Okay, so you've got this insane pace of innovation on one side, and these really deep safety questions on the other. So where does this engine go from here? Well, the report wraps up by looking ahead with a few really bold predictions for just the next 12 months.
The report lays out a few big ones, but here are 3 you should definitely keep an eye on. First, an AI agent will make a real, meaningful scientific discovery all by itself. Second, a Chinese lab will officially beat out a US lab at the very top of a major AI leaderboard. And third, this would be a political bombshell. The US president might issue an executive order to basically sweep away all those state-level laws to create one single national strategy designed to accelerate even faster.
And that really leaves all of us with one final, unavoidable question. The acceleration engine isn't some future idea. It is here. It is real, and it is reshaping our world at an unbelievable speed. The power is undeniable. The control? Not so much. So the most important question for all of us is this: who exactly is holding the steering wheel?